This morning, we are continuing our partnership with TED to highlight individuals and ideas shaping our world in our series, Ideas That Matter. University of British Columbia professor Elizabeth Dunn made headlines when she co-authored the paper Spending Money on Others Promotes Happiness more than a decade ago. In her new TED Talk posting this morning, Dunn says simply donating to charity is not enough to feel these benefits.
Spending money helping others doesn't necessarily promote happiness. Instead, it matters how we do it. And if we want people to give more, we need to subvert the way we think about charitable giving.
Elizabeth Dunn is here now. I can't wait to get to this idea of subversion. But how should we give?
Well, what we see in our work is that you're likely to get the biggest emotional boost from giving to others if you can do so in a way where you really get to see the impact that your generosity is having, and you feel a sense of connection with the people or cause that you're helping.
So explain the transaction, the psychological transaction that happens that creates this happiness response to giving.
Well, I think this sort of warm glow we get from giving is actually built into human nature. So human beings have evolved to experience joy from giving because actually our survival really depends on our willingness to make some sacrifices along the way to help each other out.
Yeah, you actually say we're wired to give, and in your TED Talk you said giving to charities made about the same difference for happiness as having twice as much income. Explain, please.
Well, so this was based on Gallup World Poll data collected in countries around the world, and we were really pretty surprised to see the magnitude of this effect, that so consistently in every major region of the world, people who give money to charity are happier than those who do not, even after taking into account their own financial situation.
You know, even though you study the connection between happiness and giving, I understand you weren't doing much of it yourself.
Yes, this was something I chose to admit to the world on the TED stage.
But then you started working with the refugee program, and how did that change things for you?
Yeah, so I hadn't ever really found a cause that I felt deeply connected with until the Syrian refugee crisis, and at that time I learned about an amazing private sponsorship program that Canada offers, where essentially any 5 Canadians can sponsor a family of refugees, and you have to raise enough money to support them for their first year, and then they actually get on a plane to your city, and then you're in charge of helping them settle in and helping take care of them.
Does it matter who you give to? Are you happier if you give to a stranger, to a family member, or a friend who's going through hard times?
We see in our research that in general, people tend to get more happiness from giving to people that they're close to, as opposed to, say, strangers or acquaintances. But it doesn't have to be that way, right? So, you know, if you give to your niece and you can see that she's so happy with this basketball you just gave her, and you go out and play with her, I mean, of course, that's going to give you this great emotional boost. I think the really interesting challenge is how do we harness that joy of giving, that impactful joy of giving, and translate it into charitable giving to help people, say, on the other side of the world.
Do you need a baseline of empathy in order for this to work? Or if somebody's out there saying, like, wait a minute, if I write a check, that's not going to make me feel any better. I mean, do you need to already have sort of empathy receptors in order for this effect to take place?
I mean, I think most of us do. My former student, Lara Aknin, has shown that even people who have been convicted of felonies show this same effect. So, you know, even these ex-offenders who, at first glance, we might think, oh, they're not going to be likely to experience joy from giving to others. They show the effect too. So the point that we're seeing is that really this is something that probably all of us are capable of feeling.
Elizabeth, I can hear people saying, I would love to give more, but I'm barely making ends meet myself. Does it have to be financial in order to experience the same type of joy and happiness?
There is also evidence that spending time helping others can make a difference for our happiness. But we see in our work with money that, you know, you don't have to be Bill Gates. You don't have to be giving a giant amount of money, right? Even in our work, we've seen that giving as little as $5 to help somebody else can actually give you this detectable boost that you feel throughout the day.
All right, Elizabeth Dunn, thank you for giving us a detectable boost by teaching us. Thanks a lot for being here. To watch Professor Dunn's full TED Talk, visit our website at cbsthismorning.com.